sentence in your head. There ain't no finish line. Call no man happy till he's dead. There's a pressure behind my soul. I can feel it in my bones. There's a storm coming.
All right, welcome. I am Michael, pronouns he, him. I am going to be running Ars Magica tonight if we want to go through and introduce ourselves.
Hi, I am Sarah, pronouns she, her, and I'll be playing Mishka, pronouns she, him. He is a lycanthrope bear and one of our companions at the Covenant.
Nice.
Is it me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey. Hi, I'm Steve. I'm playing, I believe I'm playing Bastion tonight?
Yep.
Yeah, he's the music man that seduces fairy queens.
Ooh,
And Hunter.
that's true. Hi, I am Nessa, she, her, and I will be playing Giselle, also she, her. She is basically a cow secretary, and I love her.
All right, if you want to take a few minutes to go through and add some stuff, like things that you need to your companions to bring them a little more up to speed, I will do some quick explaining about Ars Magica. So Ars Magica is a fantasy role-playing game that is unlike a lot of traditional role-playing games in that instead of actually like playing a single character, every single player has a mage, every single player has a companion who is someone who has basically can have like story flaws. They're more important to the story. And then there are the Grogs. The Grogs are a large pool of characters who we can kind of pull whenever we need to. They can be played by anybody. Grogs themselves do not have like story flaws. For the way I put it, though some people on the Ars Magica Discord disagree, they are wrong, however, is that they look at it as, I would look at it as Gandalf would be your mage, Aragorn, and all of the hobbits would be companions, and Gimli and Legolas, as awesome as they are people whose backgrounds and stories do not matter as much to the game as the other ones do. So your Grogs can be awesome. They can do all sorts of amazing, cool, great things. Seem very happy for Grog-only sessions.
They are fun.
They are very fun.
They're fun to play, because, if they die, it sucks, but, I don't have to redo 14 levels of spell casting.
I think part of the problem is, specifically for me, is I built Zaldan with like a mindset with not really knowing the game, and now there's some things I wish I would have done a little differently.
Well, to keep that in mind, I will just do a little bit about just TTRPGs in general. A lot of time, any of you seen like Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or so Brooklyn Nine-Nine. The first like 6 to 7 episodes, most of those characters are insufferable.
Yeah.
Like they suck.
A little bit.
There's about 7 or 8 episodes in, and the same thing happened like BoJack Horseman. Everyone told me to skip the first seasons of Park and Rec because of the same thing. Yeah. When they got partway through, they looked at it and they realized, oh hey, this isn't working. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I think, was basically because Mike Shore is best when he's writing about decent people, and he was trying to make them kind of assholes, like not great people. And they switched it around. They changed the characters up when it got to about 6-7 episodes in. So if you ever want to like look back at your character, make some changes, make some alterations to who they are, what stuff has to be done, especially once you know the system, let's do that.
Okay.
So that's the thing you want to look back at. We can absolutely do stuff like that. Because the kind of going back and revisiting characters is the kind of thing I think should be more common in RPGs. Because sometimes you find out that the character you built is not the character that you're actually playing.
I like Pen too much to do anything else.
I have been changing Lear, though I'm still kind of finding her motivation to do things. I'm trying to make her more of a not badass or bad guy, just more neutral decision making type of person.
Hell yeah.
More
Speaking of
chaotic.
which, do we want a quick recap of what happened last time? Very rough. Let's give it like 5 lines.
Sure.
Whoops! The village is flooding. Lear goes down to the village with her lawyer, Giselle, and her bodyguard, Thordak, to, I guess, address the problem. We find a mirror that's just fucking... I was about to say something you can't say on Twitch. Nope, can't say that one either. A lot of water's coming out of it.
Oh, okay. Okay, no, maybe we were going to say.
Yeah, no.
It's going off like a fire hydrant.
Yeah, it was going off like a fire hydrant. And we were like, oh god, what if this is like some Fae nonsense, you know, yada, yada, yada. Magic mirror. And then we just, Thordak just fucking, you know, Lear got it so that we could, you know, get to the mirror. And then Thordak just fucking hammered it and it broke and no more water. So pretty cool, actually. Giselle still has all those mirror pieces for you, by the way, Giselle, Lear. And then we were like, holy shit, there's probably more mirrors in town because there's a lot of water. And we found a big ass fish, killed it. I believe broke the other mirror, and then we just had a big party.
Yeah.
End of list.
Yep. You also found in your in that fish, you found part of a picture frame.
Yep. A gilded picture frame thing.
I did make a note of that in the information we have for the Covenant itself. So one of the things
based off of the title of this one, I think maybe we were right, and this is some Fae nonsense.
Well, there'll be a couple things I want to look at today because we one thing I want to do is explore Giselle and Mishka a little bit because we haven't seen Mishka, I think, since one of the first few episodes.
Yeah.
Giselle has been around a little bit, but we haven't really kind of gone too much into. So the ghosts, as I recall, for Giselle, the ghosts you're plagued by are the ghosts of women killed by the guy who was either you killed or was after you?
He's after me. He's my ex-fiance. I do keep referring to him as my ex-husband. Maybe there's a story thing behind there. Maybe I'm dumb. One or the other.
And that's the enemy that's coming after you?
Yes.
Oh, all right.
Like he was like the lord of our area, and it's a combination of, I do think a couple of them are maybe girls who he got to earlier, but it's also just anyone who was basically like forced into a marriage who died in those woods.
Okay. And for Mishka, remind me your darks. We've got like a death prophecy. We may or may not get into today. Oh, if you want to make a note, ferocity. If you want to go ahead and remove that, ferocity is something that makes sense for Grogs. What it gives you, companions already have. There's probably like if you want to have like someone that's more of a personality thing. There'll be some stuff there you can put in.
Do I add another virtue later?
Yeah.
Okay. Death prophecy he is a craftsman by trade. He is a blacksmith.
Mm-hmm.
And the death prophecy is he will be killed by something he's created by his own hand. Dark secret. He may or may not have killed his family while in bear form. He doesn't know, but he kind of thinks that he did.
Okay. And the flashbacks.
Just what did I say about this? I'm trying to think what I said about him. I have nothing.
All right.
Flashbacks to the night you maybe killed your family.
Yeah.
Well, I would say make it something different than that because you don't remember stuff that happened in your lycanthropy form.
Oh, engage a comment.
So you want to make that a different thing. So that's something you can kind of come up with. I think part of what we'll be able to do.
I'll think about that. I might change that one then. Come up with a different flaw, another virtue for him.
So we'll say this to start with. It is not currently like the full moon passed a few days ago. You're in the safe. You've got everybody. You're safe. Everybody who has shown up to, everybody in the Covenant who's gone and out into the woods and such and come back. So it is. There's often a day of rest sort of afterwards because they've had 3 nights where they've been out. Well, they're fairly rested. We've kind of gotten back to normal. You do, however, kind of wake up like just with a just sort of a sweat over you. For Mishka, tell me a little bit about your family.
I had a wife and a daughter, and I was a very busy man. Didn't have I said just doesn't I didn't think don't think he appreciated them as much as he could have at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Very focused on the blacksmithing. He's always been kind of a quiet, reserved fellow. Maybe wasn't like very communicative with them. But he did love them dearly, and he misses them now, and he's just racked with guilt over the loss.
Okay. Sorry, I missed a tiny bit. You said, yeah, you didn't spend a lot of time with him because you were so busy.
He was just kind of very, very like focused man, very kind of reticent, quiet, just serious fellow, and didn't like show his affection or his love as much as he probably should have. And he lost his family.
Okay. The dream that you had, the dream that you had was of a night that you remembered. One of those nightmares that was a real evening. You'd come home, you'd been exhausted, you were working your tail off as far as blacksmithing and other such gone. You've been focused. You went home, kind of went to bed relatively early, and everyone thought you were asleep. And you remember you hearing your daughter crying and your wife comforting her, and then you just heard, "Does Daddy not like me?" And your wife trying to comfort her, saying that you were a difficult to get to know man. But you wake up and then you know that today you're making lances for the Pegasi Riders. You're not quite sure from the death prophecy what it's going to be, but making weapons is never your favorite of things. Mm-hmm. For Giselle, we've got you as a one thing to keep in mind: you've got reclusive and gossip both down there as things that don't really go together. You also have a very high charm score. So,
I figured it like tied into my like unearthly beauty, at the very least. The
is it more like reclusive around men, probably?
Yeah, it's one of those where like I just kind of want to be by myself for that. Okay. But like I especially in like in the household, I like hearing what's going on about town.
Okay. You're a gossip, however. There's a group you have ended up like going out, hanging out with, sort of enjoying the tavern once in a while. What has kind of drawn you to this group of women?
I think they remind me of the friends I had in my childhood, even though I'm like 35 now. Mm-hmm. It's just like suddenly I'm like 16 again when I hang out with these girls.
Okay.
Or I guess these women, but you know.
Yeah. So, let me check something real quick. What is this? Okay, I just had a weird thing pop up. I don't know what that was. Yeah, so you're out sort of drinking one night. A bunch of you, like you've seen some guys and other stuff eyeing you. Everyone's sort of talking about a number of the things that have been sort of happening. However, there is quite a large group talking a bit about Bastion. Bastion, how have things been since your dalliance with the like singing to? I don't think there's any real seduction took place there, but your time in Fae.
Oh, I think the story has kind of taken a life of its own.
Mm-hmm.
If that means, or like, it's kind of like, it's not really that big of a deal, but now everybody talks about it, so it's kind of like this unexpected fame. Like when he's playing, everyone wants to attend. It's kind of a bad adjustment, really. He's not enjoying how popular he is.
Mm-hmm.
You got huntered.
He's like, guys, it was one time. It's not that big of a deal. I'm here to play music. Like,
Okay. Yeah, things have been a bit weird, but how is Bastion kind of with other people in the Covenant?
um, I I think I think he gets along with everybody. I just don't. He doesn't strike me as this combative or like argumentative type. He's just goes with the flow. If people talk to him, he talks. Just he's one of those guys that everybody seems to like.
Okay.
He's just likable.
Get along with just about everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you get along with folks. You sitting there kind of at the bar talking, and at one point, um, Giselle, you've got one of the girls kind of like elbows you a little bit and goes, "What about him, the singer?"